Thank you very much, Gary. Okay, can all of you see me and hear my voice?
Yes, bro. Loud and clear.
All right. Well, my session now is to bring in someone who's very valuable to all of us who participated in the Long Lamai Service Learning Program. So it's none other than Uncle Garen, as we all call him, right? Garen Jangan, who I think everyone who goes to Long Lamai, I mean, will at some point look for him. I mean, because he's a kind of a resource person. He's a person who's very important, and his biodata says that he's an advocate for indigenized control development, right? And as a Penan community, I mean, they always have him as the liaison with parties from outside, like the researchers who come in. Well, he's normally the liaison, and he's really someone that, you know, gives the researcher the confidence. Even though the researcher is new and not so sure what to do, he will tell them, well, you need to be clear about what you need. You know, somehow the way they approach, I mean, whether we are in a way ready for community intervention or community interaction, he's always assuring. And, you know, in a way, I think one of the things about working with communities is they actually give us more room than sometimes we feel. I mean, we as an outsider, do we deserve this care and love from all these community members? And sometimes they go out of their way to make you feel welcome, right? Welcome, acceptable, and in a way comfortable enough to do what you intend to do, right? So with that, I'll just like to say that, I mean, he's one of the person who has been recognized as a community scholar by the University Malaysia Sarawak, and also all of us, I mean, including Cornell, including UCTS. I think all of us, we recognize Uncle Garen as a community scholar because of his vast knowledge and his ability to interact equally with people of different backgrounds and bring us to a scale or level where we can contribute, right? We can play a role working together, right? So with that, I will just request Gary, can you play his video, since he's having some problem with technology, so he's not able to come back physically, but at least we can hear his video. And I mean, I really look forward to how in his own humble and meaningful way, he's able to convey important messages. So over to you, Gary.
This place is called Long Lamai. Long Lamai is a Penan community. We have few facilities that we have inside Long Lamai. We have schools. We have access to this place by air and by boat ride for an hour. We don't have road, so now we are thinking of how to bring this place into progress, because this place, we are the descendant of the nomadic. We had been abandoned our nomadic lives since 50 years back. So now we are trying to catch up with other local ethnic around us. Since we are very late to come out from the jungle, as our other ethnic counterpart, people around us, they had been originally people who do planting and farming. So since we are late to come out, so we have less knowledge about this thing. So because of that, we are trying to find a way to help ourselves before we seek help from others. So the thing we have in mind is we just keep on the motto of resilience. Resilience in concept that we use here. I take an example like a vehicle or a car that have a driver, have passengers in. The vehicle itself got tires, 4 tires, got spotlight and other accessories. But the most important is the light. The light that we use in the car, in front of the car, is very important for the driver to see when it travel on the road, even at night. This light can give you a very clear sight. That means it can save you from accident because of the light. And this is the example. The headlight of this car is education. For us, we send our children to school so that they can be the light for our community, to see all things outside our community, whatever they can learn in school, in other places. From this knowledge, we want them to bring it back, to play it in the community, to do it as practical. And also, now we are glad that we have other people from outside there. For example, university student from other universities. For example, in Long Lamai, we have UNIMAS. They send their students as researchers and help our community as well. And now, like Cornell University, they also contributed a lot here, and then we are hoping that they are still contributing some more. So now we are collaborate with this university and other universities as well indirectly. So back to the example of the vehicle just now. Resilient in Penang is the word petem reken. Petem reken means step firm. Even though that is in our planning, we plan it step by step as long as the leader can think, because it is act as the driver. The community is act as the car. So the passengers is act as the people in the community. The driver is our headman or the elders in the community. So these people are leading, driving the car to a destination that we not yet reached. That is the progress, how to bring the community in progress, and how they address a community and plan it in such a way that they think that can bring progress to the community. For example, now we are so glad that we have this student, our own student and student from other universities or in other part of the world that come, that act as the tires of this vehicle. As we know, this car, if without tire, it won't move. The same thing. We hope that these tires can move the vehicle easily, and it is drive by this driver can monitor and steadily going according to the law and the road in order to drive safe with the passengers. With the passengers stay in the vehicle for their own safety and follow the instruction with the driver. The same thing that this means that unity is very important for us. Like these passengers, they have to keep inside the vehicle and follow instruction by the driver. That means by the elders, by the headman, in order to be safe inside there. So if any passengers just jump out of that car or that vehicle without telling the driver or without the instruction of the driver, that person may risk his own life, or it's risky. The same thing if we are spread from the unity of the community, it will give us a chance to reach the destination that we are supposed to be, what we are, our goal is. And the same thing, if the tires, even without the driver, if this vehicle got tires, these 4 tires is the example of researchers or the student from outside combined with their education to come here. If they don't follow the instruction with the driver, or if you move the car without the driver, it still can move, but it wouldn't follow the road. It can be go anywhere. The same thing with any young people. For example, if researchers, they can move, they can go, but they have no destination because without the driver. This is here is the message that it is very important whenever researchers, for example, or the student come to the community. The most important thing is to reach for the elders or the headman as the driver of the community, so that they become part of the vehicle, so that they can move together in a safe way according to the road. Way of Long Lamai.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Garen. I think today has been a very long day since morning. I mean, and we saw a keynote address talking about decolonization, and then we looked at various aspects of service learning, and then we had Dr. Roger and Dr. Pauline talking about how the project itself started with the attitude towards rural community. What is the correct way of interacting, working together to achieve something? So we saw kind of a lecturer's perspective of how a project like this can become workable. Well, now as we went to the talk after that by Dr. Colin, I mean, he looked at a kind of over a period of years, the kind of changes that happen to the understanding of researchers in terms of how they see community university partnership. How can the interaction bring greater value and reduce the chances of misunderstanding? That's really what we saw in terms of the examples from Dr. Collins' lecture. And well, in a way, appropriately to conclude this, we saw an analogy from the community. And when it comes from the community, I mean, it came in all humility. I mean, it was during a workshop when well, the village head, Wilson, he came up with this diagrammatic way of depicting how the role of researchers, I mean, you cannot do an activity without understanding that there is a bigger picture, and your role is as a project. Actually, what he said initially was each wheel is like a project. It can be an education project from one university, it could be an agriculture project from another university. So each of these wheels, they are what moves the community along the futuristic direction, because the road takes them to a place where they don't know yet. I mean, how far it's going to go. I mean, do they need to go straight up to towards the sky? Then still not so clear. So the tires have a big role to play. And this is really what we have learned. And I'm sure many of you may have questions with this model and the kind of a conclusion that comes from a community's perspective, where they see your role as part and parcel. At the same time, there are guidelines. So that was the message that all of us should take home from his presentation. I open the floor for, I mean, we don't want to go into too many questions. Two questions should be fine if they are long, but if we have quick questions, we can go for 3 questions. Well, Dr. Roger Harris says, may I suggest engine is traditional knowledge? Wonderful, wonderful compliment to the existing model. I think the model itself could be still used to provoke additional collaborative discussions across all of us. I mean, throughout the conference, I think if someone can just draw a model of the car, I mean, on some visual media, and then we can add value. And by the end of this conference, I mean, as we normally do in eBonio Knowledge Fair, we have a knowledge tree. So now we could have a knowledge car for service learning programs. So any thoughts or comments? Okay, I have been told that Uncle Garen is here, right? He can give comments on the traditional knowledge by Roger. Well, I welcome a response from Garen. Well, I'm happy that you could join us today. Over to you, Garen. Frank, are you able to help Uncle Garen to come on?
He's in the Zoom call.
Okay, he's in the Zoom. Okay. Well, it'll be good to hear his voice.
Yeah.
If he's trying to get in touch, that's what I'm not so sure. Well, the good thing is being in Long Lamai is not left out anymore. I mean, well, if today's communication actually takes place, I mean, it is a start of something refreshing, something new that, I mean, we probably could explore further, right? So is everything okay, Franklin?
Yep, he is.
Great. Yes, Garen, please comment
Hello.
on traditional knowledge as the engine.
Hello. Okay. I wanted. I think this is community resilience. I just take the head of the topic on this because this is the community-based participatory action research. The first one should be to take as the drivers of change. Drivers of change. Second is dimension of resilience. For the third one is the threat. So drivers of change. Hello.
Yes, go on, Garen. We
Hello?
can hear you.
For drivers of change, for example, is education, modernization, and infrastructure like roads, and indigenized development, energy development. For dimension of resilience, it's like how we want to preserve our history, the memory of our social and resource, and robustness and community competence, economic and development, like energy development, adapted to capacity, like religion and ICT. For threat, this is something about like brain drain, natural disasters, waste management, and loss of traditional knowledge. Orthodox development like dams, plantation, water availability, and climate change, deforestation, and language loss. This is what I can just pinpoint from the community resilience from the drivers of change. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Garen. I think what you have done is you have added another perspective, and I think your perspective is valuable. And only point that I need to highlight here is the car actually represents patam rakan, right? It represents resilience from how the community sees it. And from that perspective, Uncle Garen has given his points to kind of link it to the traditional knowledge and how the deliberations will pursue from now on. Right? So is there any other question before we conclude? One last question, one last. Okay, as written here, recent events suggest greater emphasis on climate justice. So, Garen, you want to comment on that?
On climate justice, I think this is what we have planned for, like we have the through this service learning. Through this service learning, I think this is one of the thing that like in the global citizen and sustainable development. I think this is what is important when researchers or students come to the community, from where they start, so that because people who live in this part of the country, like the community who live in the last remaining rainforest here, we really made a lot of this problem that we face in our life. So here, when we address this to the student, we hope that through our last experience, the student can take what to explore the best of their research, and then only they can start with their research project. So they can get all this from the community, so that they can take it as the best best for their research, and then only their research can proceed with in the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Garen. I think it has, I mean, in a way, sometimes I feel that it's difficult to tell whether you are a community member or you are a researcher, Garen, because when the way you address issues, I mean, in a way, as the researchers and the community work closer and closer, I think the difference disappear. And that's really what I'm seeing with our community champion in Uncle Garen, right? So with that, I wish to say thank you very much to everybody for this session. It has been really enlightening and also insightful. Well, I just hope that tomorrow's session will also be as fruitful and as energizing as today. So thank you very much for the attention, and also thank you very much for all your contributions. Over to the organizers.